Kiwi and Karen, come on up. Yes. So thank you all for showing up for Rom Com Fest and for these two. So we are here with Karen and Kiwi, two screenwriting legends, responsible for bringing us not only the perfect film that we just watched, but also Legally Blonde. She's the Man, the House Bunny, and many more. I know we've already clapped a lot, but clap more for them, please. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for turning out and for all the love. It means a lot to us.
Since we are at a Rom Com Festival, let's start with a big one. What are your guys' favorite romantic comedies of all time?
Let's see. I really love The Philadelphia Story.
Oh, yeah.
I love My Best Friend's Wedding.
Yes.
I love When Harry Met Sally.
Yes, a classic. I don't know if 16 Candles counts as a rom-com or of a teen
kind of
rom-com.
both. Yeah.
I've always loved that. And I think you're a big Grease fan.
Grease.
Oh, yeah. So there are so many things I want to cover about 10 Things and the experience and how this came out of your brains. But I think we should start at the beginning. This was your guys' first movie ever, which feels crazy to me because it's perfect. Can you tell me about how it came to be and how the U.S. postal system played a part in that?
Well, Kirsten and I were living in separate states. I was in Colorado when we wrote this, and she was here in LA. And we went to Puerto Vallarta, because I had a timeshare there. So we sat on the beach with a bunch of Corona, and we outlined the movie. And then we went back to our respective states and wrote it. But Kirsten was a bit of a Luddite then, and she did not have email. So we would mail
I still had
each
a problem
other
using my cell phone just a
we
few minutes ago.
We went to the bathroom like 15 minutes ago, so this shouldn't surprise you. But so we would mail each other pages or fax them. Or like one time I think I airborned you pages. I like drove to the local airport and airborned her pages. So I was so excited about the scene I just wrote. I wanted her to read it right away. So that's how we wrote it.
It's funny because I think we were in person together over the course of writing the script only maybe like 3 chunks of time, right? Like maybe for the outlining process was one, then the revision process, and maybe a third revision process
And then I moved to LA
together.
and we did the rewrite that became the shooting draft. So we did that one together here.
Yeah, I feel like I might have gone to Denver.
Yeah, you came to Denver for a week when we
rewrite
were-
with you.
yeah.
It's pretty
It's long distance.
pretty weird. It's like like in the days of yore, romantic screenwriting.
It feels like a twist on the like epistolary
Yeah,
novel,
yeah,
the like that old-fashioned love story, but it's friendship and it's rom-coms. It's great. So obviously, again, Rom Com Festival, so which means we've got to take a moment to talk about the rom of it all. How did you guys turn this play, which has often been interpreted, in misogynistic ways, and how did you turn it into one of the great teen feminist works of the turn of the century? What do you think makes the Kat and Patrick coupling really click together?
Well, I think that she doesn't fall for any of his normal tricks that he uses on girls, probably. So he was intrigued by that. And then she also kind of respected the fact that he was a rebel as well and didn't really give a shit about what anyone thought about him. So
And
that
he
was
was-
the bonding.
And he's probably like an ally and a feminist before an early version of that, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
He respects her strength and likes it. And so,
He knows consent.
yes, he does. Yeah.
That's right. He wouldn't kiss her when she was drunk.
That's important stuff. I've also heard before that the execs on this movie didn't believe at first that Kat could just be an angry teenage girl. Can you talk a little bit about that note that came up in the writing process and how it changed the movie?
Well, yeah, their note was, why is she so angry? We don't get it. And we're like, well, okay.
She is a
You've
16-year-old
never been
girl.
a girl in high school dealing with a bunch of buttheads. But so then they made us have the mother leave the family so she could have a reason to be angry.
Yeah, because we had their parents were happily married, and that was just didn't make any
And
sense
they're
that
like,
she would be in,
nobody from a happy family
You can't
produces an
be-
angry teenager. That's absurd. That's in Disney's mind.
So this movie was the launching point for a lot of careers, not only your guys's, but also Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger, and a pre-Bring It On Gabrielle Union. What's it like to be such a crucial part of the legacies of so many people?
Oh, wow. I mean, when you put it like that, it feels so exciting. Yeah,
Joseph Gordon-Levitt did pretty well.
Yes,
after this.
he's also
he did.
succeeded.
And they, the cast loved each other so much, and they loved making the movie, and to have everyone, like Joe came out for a screen. I mean, he's come out for a 15th anniversary screening and a 20th anniversary screening, and they just were very connected with each other. So you could see from like the bloopers, and you get a sense that they had a wonderful time making the film
And we still
together.
hang out. Like David Krumholtz and Andrew Keegan and I will hang out socially.
Yeah. Oh, that's so nice.
Still.
And like Krumholtz came and did a reading of one of our scripts,
Yeah.
a rom-com script that we're hopefully going to be making in the next year. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
So
You guys want to talk about that rom-com? You don't have to, but if you want to.
I think the deal's closed. I think we can talk about it.
it's hopefully will be with Netflix, and they're very protective. So
Yeah.
But it's
so
called
we'll-
Hope
Yes.
for now. It might
And then we won't say anything else. Okay, zip it.
So what did it feel like when this movie came out in 1999 versus what it feels like now, 20 years later, which also feels crazy, with people still coming out to see it on a big screen and like screaming at all the important parts? Like I was getting it's not even my movie, and I was getting emotional at so many people connecting to it still like today. What is that like? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for connecting.
Yeah, it's a kind of a mind blow that it's had this lasting response, because when it came out, we opened against The Matrix.
Oh my God.
And
By the way, I saw the trailer of The Matrix, and I'm like, that looks so fucking terrible. I'm like, we're totally going to be number one.
Planet
I'm not
Earth.
even worried about it.
Planet Earth did not agree with you. But yeah, we were
People like The Matrix.
our hopes were kind of destroyed when that happened, and so I mean, the movie went on to make 38 million here.
I think we had like 40.
Karen
I
loves
always
to round up
overestimate.
the number.
Round up all of our numbers. I'm like, it made like $400 million. It's like
But
40-ish.
yeah, so it's just, I guess it's a lovely thing that people are still coming out to see it, because we were not sure if it would be able to last this long when it didn't perform immediately on opening weekend.
It's got legs. It's iconic. You guys did that. So this is obviously an incredibly quotable movie, and I know you guys get this question all the time, but still, what are your guys' favorite lines from this film, especially now that they've been quoted back to you for a couple decades?
I think mine is remove head from sphincter, then drive. Because I rarely get from one destination to another without cussing out another driver. So I feel like that was a bit of me in that line.
Yeah, I guess the poem, like, I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even a little bit. Not even any at all.
Yeah.
Oh, and also the one that Patrick says to Cameron, don't ever let anyone make you feel like you don't deserve what you...
Yes.
I've seen that in like yearbook quotes and stuff. And that makes
What are
me happy.
your guys'?
Oh yeah, we can pass it on to the audience now for questions. Do we have microphones for them, or do people stand up and shout, or raise your hand first? You.
I mean, it's about half and half in this one, I think. The Cowboys, was because I was living in Denver, and it's going to sound so creepy, and it's not, but I would sit outside of a high school and watch the clicks. To be like, all right. And there was always some cowboys, and I was like, let's just hype it up and make them like literally, doing cowboy stuff. And then we had, because it was set in Seattle, we had like the coffee kids. I don't know if you could really tell that clique was there. They kind of got cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was weird. If someone saw me, they'd be like, what are you doing? I'm writing a movie. It's fine. It's fine.
I mean, Nigel with the Brie was definitely written in
that
the
was-
script.
Yeah.
And we do have fun writing little bits of that kind of description. I mean, in 16 Candles, I felt like John Hughes did a really nice job of always having little bits of weird business in the background, and we enjoy creating those little flavor and textures in the writing.
Anyone else? In the middle.
Thank Thank you.
Oh, well, that makes me feel really good, what you just said. Thank you.
Well, anytime you write a relationship that's complex, it's more fun than writing one that's not. So
Yeah.
we tend to gravitate to making things more complicated than, well, but I mean,
Yeah.
real life is that complicated too. I was going to say more than real life, but Jesus, life is really complex right now. So.
Well, and I think also, I mean, Karen has a sister. I'm an only child, but I mean, in Karen and in my relationship with Karen, I feel like we have a sisterly connection. We're family at this point, you know, and like we have a little bit of that sparring back and forth. So I feel like it came naturally to us and came naturally from you, your relationship with your sister. But you know, I'm glad that you pointed that out because that's always it's a meaningful dynamic, and I think sisterhood is where it's at, you know?
And in the original play, they were like friendly, but not really like, they didn't really connect on a lot of levels in
Yeah.
the original play. So we wanted that to happen for sure. But it's funny, like when this first came out, people from my high school were like, was this based on you and your sister? I'm like, no, it's based on Taming of the Shrew. I'm like, and I dated in high school, dude. I dated you. What are you talking about? Like, that was not based on me. Yeah. People are
On
good.
the right, or my right,
Oh, fantastic. Yes, I think for sure, like, read as many screenplays as you can, whether it's movies that have already been made or scripts on the blacklist. I mean, Alana your script was on the blacklist and
on the website.
on the web. That's okay though. But I mean, the website you have access to reading a lot of great screenplays, and much like you would if you wanted to write a novel, reading novels is a great way to do homework for it. And then, you know, when you start writing your script, like just try to get to page 85 as opposed to stopping at page 25, which I have a lot of stopped at page 25 scripts, and like getting through and finishing it and maybe putting it aside and then starting another one. And
Yeah, that's the most important part. Like,
Yeah.
don't spend 5 years rewriting your first script. Set that aside, write your second script, then set that aside, go back and read your first script, and you're going to be like, thank God I didn't show this to anybody, because in writing my second one, I figured out all the ways to solve the problems in the first one. And then you like set them both aside, do your third one, then go back. It's like a cycle. But yeah, never send anything out too early.
Oh, actually, sorry, do you have a follow-up? I was going to say, you guys wrote a script together before 10 Things, right? That
Yeah.
did not end up getting made. Can you tell us about that one?
yes, that was it. Well, that was the night that we met each other, because I had read a couple of Karen's scripts that she'd mailed to me when I was working as a development executive reading scripts, and we
I thought she
met-
was a very powerful studio excecutive.
I was
She
not.
was sitting in a
I
cubicle
was-
at the time, and
I
like
was in a
this crappy
dirty
building across
ass
from a strip club.
Oh, yeah. But we met for drinks, and when she came to LA, and we had a margarita, and then we had 2 and 3 and 4, 17 margaritas, and we
Writing juice.
yes, and we started talking about movies that we would want to write, and Karen pitched an idea of like, we loved female action movies. We're like, oh, that's going to be a big genre.
Like
because
Long Kiss Goodnight.
Long Kiss
It
Goodnight was just
about to come out.
and like Shane Black had sold it for $3 million or something. Did you guys ever
4
see
million.
this?
I might be rounding up, but I think it was 4 million.
And so we're like, oh, we're onto this. We want to do a female ensemble action movie. And it was about like girls who meet in a rape crisis, like a self-defense class, and then they're recruited by this guy, and then they kill these bad Navy SEALs with their bare hands. Okay, but it was a female.
It was hilarious.
It was.
As you can tell. Fucking hilarious.
It was like we wanted to do female ensemble action movie, and we wrote on napkins that we started writing the night that we met. And it was like our characters were Taya Leone was one of them, Tracy Lords was another, Lily Taylor, and Fairuza Balk, because we love the craft. And then we went back to our respective states, wrote that also snail mail wise, and needless to say, it
That
didn't.
one did not get made. Shocker. Shocking.
There's still time.
Yeah.
There's time.
It didn't quite catch on, but it showed you that we had that like
Yeah.
kind of spirit of like, yeah.
And then we're like, let's do a teen movie. Maybe that's more commercial.
right?
So
Just
our second.
remember, your first script that you write does not have to be 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yes.
But it does have to be your second.
The actors in your films feel so perfectly aligned with the characters you've written, and I was wondering if you write your characters with actors in mind, or
No, we don't, actually. The characters are usually pretty strongly, in House
In-
Bunny, we wrote with Anna in mind because we
Yeah.
conceived of that with her.
Yeah, that was born of an idea. She wanted to play. We had a coffee meeting because we saw Just Friends. We loved it. We're like, our agent, could you set a meeting with Anna Faris? And then she pitched us the character of like a house Playboy bunny who gets kicked out of the mansion. And
She took it to a dark place.
Yeah, she was like, and maybe then she gets addicted to crack. And like
And at this point,
she's
we knew
molested
that
by
the
this
happier
priest.
stuff sells better.
And we were like, okay, this sounds really. And the way she was saying it was so dark but funny. And then we ended up going back and.
I was like, let me think a bit on where she's going to go after this.
And then we had this other idea that was in our files that was about like a really uptight woman who becomes a sorority house mother, like a kind of
Like
Tina
a reverse
Fey.
Animal House.
Yeah,
Thing, but with
who gets
sororities.
kind of corrupted by the wild, crazy sorority. So then we were like, ooh, what if we
flip that?
Yeah, what if we bring her character into the more misfit, awkward sorority? And so,
So never throw out your old ideas because you will blend them with a new
yes.
idea.
But that was one time that we really we were writing with her. We developed the story with her. And that was pretty rewarding. But I don't know if we've ever. Oh, there was one time. Remember when we were writing the Girl in the Curl, our surf movie, and Jennifer Love Hewitt wanted to do it, so we did a rewrite with her
Oh,
in
for her,
mind,
right.
kind of.
Sometimes we like picture certain guys that are funny at the moment. Like we
Mm-hmm.
pictured Ryan Reynolds a few times. And
We enjoyed it just picture Ryan Reynolds.
I'm currently in a Momoa phase.
Yes, yeah.
Would really like to do a comedy with him. He's just naked the entire movie. It's gonna be hilarious.
Anyone have more questions? Way back on this. Yes, you.
I was wondering with this movie and She's a Man, both being Shakespeare adaptation, what about Shakespeare or the plays in particular made you want to bring them to the teen, high school, rom-com genre?
Well, this one we chose just because we thought it would be fun to do this in a contemporary setting. We were hired to rewrite She's the Man. That was based on 12th Night, but someone had already written a first draft, and because we'd already, as I always say, we molested Shakespeare once, so they like hired us to do it again. But we do enjoy the fact that
Yes.
he packs everything chock full of plot. He does a lot of the heavy lifting for you.
And he's not difficult to negotiate with when it comes to rights.
Yeah.
Very
Never knocked on our door and asked for money. It's kind of cool.
Any other questions? Yes.
I'm, I guess, a combination of Kat and Elwoods.
That's a powerful combination.
It takes people by surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I love the kind of indie rocker-ness of Kat, and the optimism of Elle, and then the kind of like a little bit of zaniness of Shelley from House Bunny.
Yeah, you're definitely like the clumsy, zany part of
Thank-
that.
Why, thank
In
you.
a nice way. Funny way.
Yes.
Which
Oh,
character?
Michael Ekman.
Oh, David Krumholtz's character? Yeah. I don't know, we just,
come up with him?
we just, I don't know, we
We're
just
taking
wrote the
that
part, and then he
AV
was like cast, and it was like, oh my God, no one could be more perfect than this.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably one of the funniest living humans.
Yeah.
So,
He's hilarious.
yeah, he brought a lot. I remember I heard something more recently that Joe said he wanted to play that role
Yeah,
first.
originally, I think.
And then he ended up playing Cameron, so would have been a different take on it.
Yeah.
I think we can take one or two more questions. Anyone have
Any more?
any more? Yes.
In
Yeah, that was.
was
We
a
were
list we had.
driving in Karen's car. I think we were like working on our rewrite for our female action movie, and she said, "Oh, she was telling me a story about 10 things I hate about
No, 'cause
this
is where
boyfriend
we had
that she
decided
had."
to write a teen movie at this
we
point.
we didn't though actually.
No, but we did. That's why I read my diaries.
No, but you told. No, but I remember writing down.
I didn't
10
just
things-
randomly read my diaries.
But I remember writing down 10 things I hate about you, teen movie in parentheticals. I'm not sure if we totally had cracked
All
writing
right,
a
well,
teen movie
maybe
yet.
I just randomly read my teen diaries.
You might have just
and
randomly
I
read
found
them.
the list of things I hated about the dude I was
Yeah.
dating, and I was telling her about this.
And then it was like 10 things I hate about you. Great title.
except
And
there-
then
It was 25, but like that was too long of it.
85 things I hate about David.
Class would have been like, wrap it up, cat.
but I think then we did it was a while before the title. We didn't really marry the title with the concept of Taming of the Shrew until we were like outlining Taming of the Shrew, and then we were like, "Ooh, that title should be put. Oh yes, it's all fitting together." So it's like
We
all
always thought
those.
they would change it, which was
Yeah.
like, we thought, oh, they'll never keep that title. And then the
Disney's-
billboard, because none of the cast was famous at the time, the billboard was just the title, like
Yeah.
just words and the number. We're like,
Yeah.
how? That's the what?
It was so crazy.
Yeah.
So we went around and took like many. Oh yeah,
We,
we
like,
sent
stopped
you some of
traffic.
those.
Yes,
yeah.
they emailed me some of the photos
Yes.
of them in front of the billboards. It's very cute.
We
Standing
climbed up on
Sunset.
top of roofs too. We broke the law to get those photos.
We did some trespassing. I'm not gonna lie.
I think you.
It was based on an unpublished manuscript, but we just really kind of gelled to the whole concept of being underestimated. And I was in a sorority, and I'm blonde, and I have a tiny dog. So there's a lot of things about that, and we're just her determination, and she was smart about the things she wanted to be smart about. Didn't really care about other things until she did care, and like how people will judge you on different aspects. So there was many things about that gravitated.
And the people kind of looked at her and said, "Oh, you can't possibly do this." And I feel like Karen and I were, we were like, people would say that to us, "Oh, your script, or you can't possibly," but we never saw that as an obstacle. We were just like undaunted on to the
Right.
next thing. So I think we really identify with that notion that even if someone tells you you can't or that's ridiculous, it's like, well, watch me then.
I used to call it obnoxiously persistent, but I like the word undaunted better. It sounds cooler.
Well, you guys wrote 2 perfect movies, actually way more than 2 perfect movies, and more to come.
Thank you, Alana.
Yes, thank you for being
Thank
here.
you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, guys.
Rom Com Fest, the best.
Thank you, guys. This is like a dream come true.